You guys, just finished watching The Last Jedi, Star Wars Episode 8. The trailer just played, and it's so good. It's so good. So, obviously in major geek out mode right now. This is a huge momentous thing for myself and everyone else who's a massive Star Wars fan, and Lucasfilm has been hyping this up like crazy all day, when even the official Facebook and Twitter pages were tweeting out that yes, it is going to happen today, tonight, at halftime of Monday Night Football. We're going to be revealing The Last Jedi trailer. Tickets are going to go on sale. It's just been a crazy day. I've been anticipating it all day. I was tweeting about it and stuff as well, so if you're following me on Twitter, you definitely saw me talking about it and getting excited. And before I talk any more about the trailer, I will say that yes, I was fortunate enough to get all of the tickets that we need. I'm just covering up the address to the theater here, but man, this is exciting. We got physical, actual tickets, first showing here in my local city at my local movie theater for Episode 8, The Last Jedi, on Thursday, December 14th. Anyway, holy freaking crap. We got to talk about this trailer and all of the goods that were in it. I took some quick notes, threw them on my phone here to try to like get my bullet points of like, this is important, this makes sense to talk about, this looks like it could be this or that. I've watched it 3 times. My girlfriend and I watched it twice in a row immediately once it was available on YouTube, so I could pull it up on my big TV with the big sound and do the whole thing. And she had to go do something else, so then I watched it again by myself to pay real close attention and just geek out. So obviously, Star Wars fanboy means you're going to enjoy the trailer. It could have been it could have been Luke tying his shoe for 2 minutes, and I would have been like, it's the greatest trailer ever. So yes, it's a great trailer. It's an Episode 8 Star Wars The Last Jedi awesomeness, 2 minutes of amazingness that we've been waiting far too long. It took them way too long to reveal this trailer, man, because, again, we were at Star Wars Celebration when they actually revealed the first teaser back in April, and we had to wait this whole time, 6 months, just to finally get the trailer. But it paid off because it was great. So why was it great? So many things. Again, I took my notes. Here's some of the things that I took away from it. It's been 10 minutes since the thing finally became live. I've watched it 3 times. Definitely not enough time to process everything. So tomorrow I'll probably have a whole bunch of other things to talk about. So anyway, the main thing that I took away from it was they are really playing up Kylo Ren being so crazy powerful, which I like because it falls in line with the quotes and comments from Mark Hamill recently about how Luke thought that Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, was the chosen one in some of that gap between Episode 6 and 7. And I thought that was great, and I made a whole video discussing how that's obviously bringing back in the idea of the Chosen One and the prophecy, and, was it Anakin, was it Luke, maybe it's Kylo Ren, maybe it's other characters like Leia or Rey, or who even knows. And so, what we saw in this trailer, spoilers by the way, obviously I should have put spoilers, I'll have to put that in the title. Anyway, what we saw in the trailer was we heard quotes from what is 99% Snoke in the very beginning, talking about when I found you, you were so powerful, untapped power, the most I've ever seen, a weapon I could use, stuff like that, which is like obviously hinting at something. Then, for the first time in 30 years, we've seen Luke Skywalker speak. Not only did we hear him, we finally saw Mark Hamill delivering lines as Luke again, talking to Rey about this power, which was amazing. And then, of course, he's like, the last time I saw this power, it didn't scare me enough, and this is obviously a big deal. And I was like, oh my god, is he talking about Vader or even like Sidious? And it didn't even dawn on me. My girlfriend was the one who's like, it's probably Kylo Ren is who he's talking about. And I was like, duh, that's obviously who he's talking about. I was totally just like geek out mode. So she nailed it. It has to be Kylo Ren he's talking about. And so they're really into this idea of Kylo Ren is an extremely powerful person. And being the fact that, the likes of Snoke and Luke are able to take note of how powerful he is, makes us understand why Luke would have believed at some point that he might have been the chosen one. So it's all kind of lining up, and I really like what they're doing there. I will say also on Kylo Ren, what I really liked was there was a couple of what I think are definite parallels to Anakin happening. The opening shot itself, I mean, I literally thought that we were seeing a flashback of Anakin is what it was showing us. I mean, that looked like... And he's been meant to look like Anakin, I think, this whole time. I said this even after the first viewing of episode 7, whatever. As soon as we got out of that showing, I was like, dude, especially with the scar, the long hair, dressed in black, we know he's his grandson. I was like, they're definitely playing on the Anakin vibe. And so I think they very purposely made him look even more like him, especially in the way that first shot was framed. And then, of course, it shows this top-down view of him walking through a cave, and he's got all these troopers behind him, like marching in order, and it just looked like Anakin storming the Jedi Temple after Order 66 began, when he went to take everything down and kill the younglings and do that whole thing, that famous, amazing scene. Excuse me. And so I just feel like there was kind of a lot of that going on, and I really liked to see that, because I love, it's the Skywalkers I care about. It's that story and that family, and I love the parallels that they're able to draw there. And makes me really excited for how he's also going to play off of Luke, because of course they're also related. The other biggest thing to take note of, obviously, was Rey, because it's a big deal. Another thing that they were leading to is not only how powerful Kylo Ren is, but how powerful Rey obviously is. I mean, they're almost telling us, and this could be a trick, but they're almost telling us that Rey is even more powerful than Kylo Ren. And that's, I mean, the whole reason Luke is even talking to her, saying the last time I saw that much power, I wasn't scared enough, is because he realizes you are really powerful. And some of the few lines she says about, you know, I've always known something was inside me, and now it's awakened. Now it's come out. It's revealed. You know, awakened, Force Awakens. You know, and so she understands that something has been inside me, and she's asking, please help me basically wield it properly. I need someone's help to steer me in the right direction. And that stuff, and then the couple of shots where she's like breaking the ground and Luke looks like freaked out and scared, and all of the shots that he's in, it's like they're really playing up the fact that she's so powerful. There could be a dark side to her. And, you know, we're already thinking there's a dark side to Luke in this film. And I really, personally, I took this away from it. And obviously none of this could be true in the movie. But I took away that they're trying to tell us that there might be a hint of the dark side. Or she could, just like Anakin and Luke's individual training, she could be going any different way. She could be going light or dark, and she needs to be steered properly. And I really love that, because I just think Rey is such a fantastic character. I know people want to complain about blah, 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 blah. Everyone bitches about Force Awakens and Rey and whatever. She's great. She's so great. And I really love what they're doing here. And she is the first character ever to be able to be on screen being trained by the one and only Luke Skywalker, Jedi to Jedi training that we're going to see. That's incredible. It's a monumental thing. And I love how powerful they're showing her to be. And it makes me kind of worried. Like, I think it's a great idea for the story, but I love Rey, and so I just kind of hope everything works out, you know? Something else, I wrote down just Luke. I was like, Luke, like, I mean, I guess I got to talk about Luke. He obviously looks great. He's everything I've already said. Talking about Rey and Kylo Ren, I've already kind of discussed some of the Luke stuff, and the fact that he's obviously doing the training. He's very scared of the power he senses in Rey. He gives us a glimpse of what it was like to have trained Ben, and the fact that it obviously went wrong because Ben was also so powerful. We get a couple of shots of him when his Jedi temple is burning, you know, and he reaches his hand out and all this stuff, and I mean, I'd like to see more. I really hope he has even more to do in this movie than what the teaser and trailer have shown us. But it was great to see him. It was great to hear him. I mean, he's into this, man. It's going to be a big deal. So, I mean, I love Rey, and I love all the characters in Finn and Kylo Ren, but Luke is, like, the one. Like, I really want to see some great Luke stuff. So, you know, I'm hoping we're going to see a Luke lightsaber showdown. I think that they would be insane if we missed that opportunity. And to be fair, that could come in 9 and not 8. So even if it doesn't happen, there's that. But it's just exciting. I mean, he looks great. Mark Hamill and Luke are just back. They're finally back. It doesn't feel like he was back in freaking episode 7 in The Force Awakens. Didn't feel like he was even back in the first teaser. Now it feels like he's back. Even without a lightsaber, it feels like we finally have Luke back. Let's talk about Snoke. That was interesting and really exciting. Snoke has become a little bit controversial over the past couple of months. People have started to worry about what's going on. He's almost become a joke. And although it makes me sad, I kind of understand why, and I have started to also worry about their direction or decision with Snoke. A lot of that comes from what we kind of know and understand about how they didn't really set up this trilogy properly, and they really were just said, hey, JJ, make a movie about whatever, make some random mysteries that have no answers and no trajectory, and then we'll just kind of make it up as we go. And it's like, that's not how you tell a Star Wars trilogy. So I feel like the Snoke thing probably, it just didn't feel natural and right in that movie for that reason. But we can trust Rian Johnson to be taking this in the right direction, and I love the fact that we get quotes from him early on, which, by the way, is great because the only dialogue we heard in the first ever teaser for The Force Awakens was also Snoke, "There's been an awakening, the light and the dark." Like, that's the first and only dialogue we ever heard from this new Star Wars trilogy. And this trailer also opened with narration from Snoke talking about Kylo Ren, what we assume is Kylo Ren. And then the final shot, oh my god, of him talking about fulfill your destiny. I feel like Palpatine when I say that stuff. And we see Snoke, and he's like doing something to Rey, so that there's so much going on. It shows us that Snoke and Rey are going to meet. They're going to have a confrontation. They're probably going to fight. Maybe we understand Snoke's motivations a little bit because he seems to want something from Rey and acknowledge how powerful she is. Maybe he's like ditching Kylo Ren because he realizes Rey is a better option, and it just feels like a parallels from both of the first two trilogies. So a lot of that stuff coming in story-wise is really cool. And it just makes Snoke seem like a real character and somebody who's menacing and a problem and a villain. And he didn't feel that way in Force Awakens. And I like the fact that from this trailer, we can take away, hopefully, that that's what he'll be in this movie. I also really love that there were so many shots and so much of an essence of this trailer that, to me, echoed The Empire Strikes Back and echoed Revenge of the Sith. I think those two films in particular, I saw a lot of things from those movies that I felt were kind of present or duplicated, replicated shots in this. Of course, I mentioned the Order 66 thing. Lots of shots of the starfighter look very, of the starfighting action. What am I trying to say? Space combat? Holy crap. Which we didn't see in Force Awakens. And by the way, how great did that look? Oh my god, it felt so much like the old two trilogies. And some of those shots looked very much ripped. I mean, specifically out of Revenge of the Sith. It just the way the ships looked, it looked like Episode 3. And even the shot of BB-8, you know, yes, it's meant to look like R2 in the X-Wing, but I also took it as like R2 kind of in the Jedi Starfighter in the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. And then, of course, we saw, I can't remember off the top of my head what they are, but the walkers that are like the AT-ATs, but they're like the guerrilla walkers where they're kind of like walking on their knuckles. We finally saw what they looked like in motion. And so we saw this Hoth-like battle happening on its Crate, I believe, is that planet, and like a sandy desert planet. And it just felt like the best of all the previous movies, you know? Like, there was so much of that, and I like to see it echoing stuff from both trilogies. Just like I knew, and I've been saying it forever, I knew that Rian Johnson was going to very specifically bring in elements from both trilogies. He was not going to leave as much from the prequel-era lore and story out of the film that JJ did, even though there were some things JJ put in Force Awakens, which I was glad for. The reference to the Clone Army was obviously my favorite. But I love that we're probably going to get a lot of that. Rian Johnson loves the prequels. He's talked about them a couple of times. He understands how all of the movies fit with George's original vision and why they're all good and valuable. And I know there's going to be great Easter eggs in this movie from both trilogies. Obviously, lots of original trilogy stuff. And I think we're going to get some great prequel stuff in here, too. And then, I mean, the last thing I wrote down here was everything else. I mean, I was like, oh, this is this, and then everything else. Because everything else was great. Amazing shots of combat. I have to say, Finn looks like a badass. Whatever he's wearing that garb, that really fancy looking like First Order vest. I don't know if he went undercover again or if he's been captured or if they're trying to make him work for them, and obviously he's not going to. The incredible shot where he lights not a lightsaber, but whatever lightsaber kind of weird sort of sigil thing, I don't even know, and is squaring off with Phasma, so we know Phasma's going to be rocking in this movie. Gwendolyn Christie going to be kicking some butt. Finn looked incredible going into combat. I've become weirdly such a fan of Finn over this last year, thinking about this movie, getting excited for it. John Boyega has been doing so much great PR. And I just think he's one of the strongest parts of The Force Awakens. Even though I think some of the humor was a little forced, I still think what the character is and where I just knew they were going to take his character has become really exciting to me. Like, and I'm excited for Poe too, but I'm way more excited for Finn. Outside of our main Rey and Kylo Ren and Luke, Finn is the guy, man. I just feel like he's going to have some awesome stuff to do. And then Leia, I mean, oh God, the shots of Leia. And then, so here, okay, I'll end with these two things. The one thing I'll say is I think that there's a little bit of possible trickery going on. So I'm going to talk about two of the biggest shots, We're obviously beyond spoilers, so you know what you're into here. Two of the biggest shots that I think were incredible, but also possibly tricking us, is Kylo Ren in a starfighter, like he's going to blow up the ship that Leia's on, like he's going to kill his mother. It's where he's like, you know, bury the past, you know, kill it, destroy it dead, whatever he's kind of saying in a narration. And Leia's sitting there with a scared look on her face, like looking at like a console. And then he's in a starfighter, like he's like going to press the button, but he's obviously at conflict with himself if he wants to press the button. Like they're trying to make it look like he might be almost killing Leia. And it's a crazy scene, and I think that there's probably some truth to that motivation, but I don't know that those cuts were from the same scene, so I don't necessarily know that that shot of Leia is in the same scene of that shot of Kylo Ren in the starfighter, so I'm just throwing that out there. And then, the big thing, the biggest of them all, the final shot. So the final shot was the big thing, man. That's what everyone's going to be talking about. I'm already talking about it. And it's another thing where there might be some trickery in the editing. We've got Rey saying, I need someone's help to find my place in all of this, something like that. And then it cuts to a very empathetic looking Kylo Ren. And it's like just his facial expression alone is not anything you would see. Almost like he cares, he's being nice, something. And then we see him hold out his hand. Like a welcoming gesture, like, I got you, let me help you. And it's whoa, it's a big deal. I love it because it's hinting at the redemption that I always said was possible and likely for this character in this movie, and no one believed it was possible to redeem him after killing Han, and I always knew it was possible, and it seems like they might be taking that angle, and that's, whether they do or don't, I think it's great to at least consider it or toy with the idea of it, because redemption is the Star Wars thing, it's the George Lucas thing, it's the Skywalker thing, so if it happens, I'm on board. However, I do think that we might, again, not be looking at the same shot of Rey and the same shot of Kylo Ren. They could be two completely different scenes, and I hope that's not what it is. I don't want them to lie so blatantly about something like that. A dialogue exchange is a really crappy thing to lie about in a trailer, and it's not impossible that they're doing that. So who knows? I want to believe in it, and if it's true, it's insane, and I mean, I love it. Some people probably won't, and I'm sure people will start to complain. People hate Kylo Ren too, but I love Kylo Ren. I love the idea of what that last shot is showing us. So I am all on board for that kind of crazy twist and that crazy character arc for those two characters. So that's it, guys. Oh my gosh. The trailer is here. It's so good. The tickets are here. I just want to pet and coddle them. I'm so happy that I have physical tickets just right here, booked, ready to go, first showing at my theater, and it's incredible. So I spewed a bunch of crazy Star Wars theories and stuff and geek out moments over this trailer at you. Hopefully you're feeling the same, and I definitely want to hear what you have to say about the trailer, about my theories that I laid out from the trailer, and also some of the theories you might have that I didn't bring up or even think about. It's an amazing time to be a Star Wars fan. Episode 8 is upon us. The trailer is fantastic. So let's all get ready for The Last Jedi coming out in just a couple of months. And that's it, guys. So thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.